it makes me think about how we've also seen other women policed in a similar way, which I think, you and I've talked a lot about, something I've talked a lot about online, which is that this isn't new, right? Like you being policed this way or you being ridiculed this way is perhaps new for you, but it's not new for like women's sports, right?
No.
We've seen this happen repeatedly for especially Black and brown women, any woman that deviates from this like image of womanhood. And I think, I don't know, for me, it's always so important to have people remember that.
Yeah, it's very important for everybody to remember that this policing of trans women and this transphobia is not sort of isolated on its own. It's part of this broader system of trying to police people's bodies and especially women's bodies. And that comes down on mostly marginalized groups, trans women, Black and brown women.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to cover this story today to keep you up to date with what's going on behind the scenes. Apparently, I've been called out. I've been called out by a trans woman. Let's face it was bound to happen. So this person, who is male, decided to call me out because I take issue with this person comparing Black women, Black female athletes, to trans women. And because I took issue with that, I'm apparently dumb. Stupid for defending women, for defending female athletes, many of whom are also Black women. Black women are also being affected by having to compete against biological men who are essentially cheaters. So yeah, I take issue with you comparing Black female athletes to men who want to compete in women's sports. I take issue with you reinforcing some of the lies that were told back then, that Black women were essentially like men and would have an unfair advantage. Yeah, I take issue with you reinforcing those lies. And the main reason I'm doing this video is to highlight how ridiculous the CPU's decision was to ban a female athlete for 2 years for using the term biological male. Apparently, calling somebody male who was born a man and is still male, apparently that is so offensive that they felt fit to ban April Hutchinson for 2 years. Yet this person, from the onset, was mocking female athletes, talking about their bench press or whatever, mocking them from day one. That was ignored. And now things have escalated because organisations like the CPU and other sporting bodies who are all for males competing in women's sports, they have emboldened these people. So this matter has now escalated where female athletes have felt the need to contact the police because this person is wishing death on them. So what's worse, calling a male, or wishing death on somebody? Show me anywhere where a female athlete has wished death on this person. You will not find it. But yet, this person, Anne, is ranting and raving every day, talking about how certain people deserve to die a very slow, painful death. This is the sort of language that is being used by this person. But is this person facing any repercussions? No.
Andrew's Instagram post read, "Y'all can probably skip this one. I got pretty angry, but I said things that needed to be said. The same effing arguments against trans inclusion has been used historically against Black inclusion. That effing terrible human being from Ontario, that's Hutchinson, makes profits off hate. The same effing week a human child is killed for being trans, that self-righteous bitch, sorry for gendered insults, I'm pretty angry right now, goes and talks about how a trans basketball player is hurting women by playing. You don't give an F about women. You care about hate and making a quick buck off of it. You effing sicken me and you promote this kind of thing. There is no hell, but times like this, I wish there was so you and Smith can spend eternity suffering." Andrews is ostensibly referring to Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who brought in a slate of policies earlier this month wherein she outlawed gender transition for children under the age of 16, hormonally speaking, and surgical transition was banned for anybody under the age of 18. She also brought in policies that prevent trans-identified men from playing against women in women's sports.
Now, the police have been contacted, and I do believe the police are involved now. At least they have given this person a good talking to. But that's not enough. We need the CPU to have the same energy that they had against April Hutchinson, and that's what I'm waiting for. But apparently, I've been told so far they've just passed the buck. They're trying to distance themselves from the whole thing. So when it comes to women standing up for their sport and wanting fairness and wanting their organizations to not allow cheating, they're all for suspending people for using terminology that they don't like. They get behind the biological male every opportunity they can get. But with the female athletes, it appears they're on their own. Absolutely disgraceful. So this is the sort of nonsense that this person has been saying online. And it's so funny. Anne really believes that if you don't say the name, it's not bullying. If you don't say the person's name, you know, it's as good as not saying it at all. No. We all know who you're talking about. We all know you're referring to April. In the post directed towards me, I knew you were talking about me. You didn't have to mention my name. So let's see what the police think about you not mentioning the person by name, but still mentioning the person and still making, you know, still wishing death on the person. Let's see what the police think about that. Your little bubble, you know, with all these sporting bodies protecting you, that doesn't really fly in the real world.
Ontario lifter that I will never name because that would be bullying, because absolutely crystal clear. April Hutchinson, otherwise known as the Ontario lifter. This April and Linda Blade do. April Hutchinson are straight up hateful. Because I want to make this absolutely clear. When I refer to an Ontario lifter, that is entirely hypothetical. It represents no person, living or dead. This is a straw man.
Where you make somebody in fear for their safety due to your words online. Because you've actually wished death on somebody. Not because you've called somebody, you've referred to somebody's biological sex. No. Actual real threats, actual real harm and intimidation and harassment because you don't get your own way.
Ontario lifter that I will never name because that would be bullying, because of course you think you understand our words and you try to use them against us, but we all see through your bullshit. I'm talking directly to you. There is a reason why CSIS has classified your people, and yeah, I mean your people, as terrorists. And that's because people like you are spreading the kind of bullshit that is getting children killed. You really think that you're just targeting me? You're targeting children who get killed because of the words you say. Go ahead, make your mugs, make your shirts, make a profit. You fucking disgust me.
So you made it clear who you were talking to. You didn't have to mention the name. And then what's worse? Calling somebody male, who happens to be male, or lying and trying to link the tragic death of a child to a powerlifter, to a female powerlifter who just wants fairness in sports. What's worse? This person used their platform to spread lies and try to link women who speak up for fairness in sports to the death of a child. The same thing happened with Libs of TikTok. They desperately tried to link her to this tragedy. And now more information is coming out. These people are spreading absolute lies. But yet they're silent when one of their own actually does go out and directly take the lives of children. They're silent when that happens, though. In fact, they forget about the victims and they still use it to push their agenda, saying, well, this happened because of the laws in Florida, because you don't allow transitioning or whatever. And ignore that the perpetrator, the monster, was part of their community or identifies as part of their community. They ignore that completely.
People like you are spreading the kind of bullshit that is getting children killed. You really think that you're just targeting me? You're targeting children who get killed because of the words you say.
It should be noted that Andrews is wrong, well, about a lot of things, but about the incident in Oklahoma as well. You see, Oklahoma police and the medical examiner have released a statement that the Owasso, Oklahoma trans teen referenced in Andrews' bizarre yelling soliloquy did not die as a result of trauma from some transphobic schoolyard fight.
So this person is allowed to spread lies, to tarnish people's names, and to also try and silence people, because that's what that is. It's just another way to silence people. If you speak out about fairness in your sports, you are killing people. Just another tactic that these crazies use.
It's so fucked up that we think that any allowance of journalism to say, yeah, no, it was okay that this child wasn't receiving medical help because the school did everything they could, and maybe it was a pre-existing condition that this child died from, and not being beaten to death by three assholes who are probably trained to be a hate by their Christian parents because Jesus loves children, except in America.
To stop someone from speaking out, telling me that as a black person, I have to agree with men claiming to be women dominating women's sports. I have to agree with that as a black person because of segregation, because of what black people in this country went through. You're telling me that I have to forget standing with women and stand with you? So you're not going to try and use my race to tell me what I should think and to tell me that I should do your bidding. First of all, I'm not doing anybody's bidding. I'm speaking as a woman myself. I'm speaking as somebody who has participated in sports myself. And I'm simply speaking for truth, speaking for reality. Because we've kind of strayed away from that in recent years. We've strayed away from reality. So people like me, people like April, the people who this person is trying to call out and intimidate, we're simply saying, hold up a minute. Let's get back to actually acknowledging biology and acknowledging the damage that is being done to women's sports when we decide that identity comes before biology. You're not the victim you claim to be. You are the aggressor. Wishing death on female politicians who have introduced laws to protect children, who have introduced laws to protect women's sports. Wishing death on female athletes who speak out and say, this isn't right. Now, there's a petition that I will post in the description, or you can find it on my Twitter or X. And it's basically to say that this person needs to be removed from competing in women's powerlifting. They need to be removed. Imagine you're a female athlete and this person who has made threats against you online is going to be in your locker room. It's bad enough that women are having their records stolen by this person, their titles, their accolades stolen by this person, who would have been 6,000 and something if competing against men, the sex that their biology falls in line with. They would have been 6,000 and something. But now they're the number one female powerlifter in the country across all age ranges. And you mean to tell me that there's not some unfair advantage that this person is using to elevate themselves? So you're a female athlete, this person has made disparaging remarks about you online, this person has tried to intimidate you, this person has bullied you online, then you go to get ready for competition and this person is right there in the locker room with you. How is that right?
Oh, and now I want to take just a quick second to talk to that African-American lady who decided that I'm never allowed to speak about how trans people and African-American, otherwise known as black, I'm saying it colloquially, it's not an insult, other woke things, whatever. You said that I'm never allowed to talk on the subject because I'm not black. It's a choice to be trans.
Yeah, I never said anything like that. I don't know what this person's talking about. Never said anything like that. Now, I would say that you choose to participate in women's sports. You're choosing to cheat. I would say that.
And so forth. Well, first off, f you, it's not a choice. I decided to die instead of continuing to be trans. But, you know, somehow I managed to live. But I just want to point out that when a child, a minority child, is fucking killed in one of the most racist states in America, you know, the one that had, the Tulsa race riots that nobody on earth heard of until fucking HBO's Watchmen came out. The parallels are amazing that your hero, the one that you choose to stand with in the fight for fairness in sport, you know what she does? She goes out and she decides to take up the mantle of a trans player is hurting NATO people in basketball. On the same week that a minority is killed, that is her thing. And you know what's cool? You know what's really cool about that? The same argument was being used to keep black people out of sports. Oh, well, they're so much bigger, they're gonna hurt our white people. It's the same argument.
Absolutely not. By acknowledging that this person is male and you are cheating in women's sports and in other, depending on the sport, you are actually a danger to women, to female athletes. By acknowledging that, that is absolutely not the same argument that was used against black female athletes and men back in the day. Not wanting to compete against somebody because of their race is irrational and is racist. A woman not wanting to compete against a man, a biological male, is not irrational. She has good reason to fear the fact that she's more likely to get injured. And speaking about girls being injured in basketball, 3 girls being injured in basketball and the game having to be forfeited, again, has nothing to do with the story about the child who lost their life. Has absolutely nothing to do about that.
Think about this? Do you have any concept of the fact that all they've done is replace which group they're against? You know they're going to go back to hating you as soon as they can. God, you've deluded yourself into thinking that it has anything to do with me. It has to do with keeping anybody else out of their segregated sports. God, you're dumb.
I love how he's saying they. You're referring to yourself. You're the one who is infringing upon women's sports and taking away opportunities from female athletes when you have no business, as somebody who is biologically male, competing in women's sports. And that is not the same as black women who simply wanted fair treatment to allow their talent to shine like everybody else has the opportunity to do. That's all they wanted. They weren't trying to cheat. They weren't trying to be somewhere that they didn't belong. They absolutely belonged in sports as any other athlete who trains and works hard. And women wanted to be in sports with other women regardless of race. That is not the same as a man wanting to compete with females. Even Anne doesn't want to compete with other males. The fact that you don't want Avi Silverberg competing in your category, which, well, it's not your category, but the fact that you don't want Avi Silverberg competing in the same category as you proves that you know that what you're doing is wrong. But you expect to be protected. You expect to be given special treatment. You expect to be treated like you're superior to everybody else. Because that's what you believe. You believe that you deserve to get your way, and to hell with anybody else. Well, I hope the CPU can now see this is the person you have been protecting. This is the person you have been getting behind. Somebody who wishes death on female politicians, on female athletes. You said that somebody deserves to be banned for 2 years for using the term male. So what is going to be your response now to Anne and what everything that Anne is doing and saying online? What's going to be your response? Is this not harassment? Is this not bullying? Apparently they're passing the buck. So we shall see. But this exposes how ridiculous their decision was to ban a woman for 2 years. Somebody who relies on the sport as part of their recovery from addiction to alcohol. somebody who the sport has actually played a role in saving their life.
45-year-old April Hutchinson is defying her age. The Londoner is ranked #1 in Canada in the Masters category after cruising to a gold medal at the Central Championships. Competitions take your best lift in each category, add the weight together, and it forms your score.
When we went to Centrals, there's no one really that could touch us. She won by a couple 100 points, I believe. She can compete with young girls in the 20s, 30s, you know, like she's just a natural at it.
But things haven't always come easy for her.
The doctor basically gave me 1 to 2 years to live if I didn't change my lifestyle. I was addicted to alcohol. I was drinking on a daily basis. My liver enzymes were through the roof. So basically I was given a death sentence, you know, and you know, did I want to live or did I want to die?
She checked into a treatment center, and when she came out of rehab, she immediately started powerlifting. The City of London employee trains 5 nights a week, tries to sleep 8 hours a day, and needs to eat a lot of calories for peak performance. At her best, she can bench 205 pounds, deadlift 510, and squat 420. Anything even close to those numbers, and she'll cruise to a Canadian title.
That's my dream, is to compete at the Worlds. And after that, I would love to do other competitions. You have like the Pan Am Games, you have Commonwealth Games.
An amazing journey so far. And during the whole time, like I've actually gained a really good friend. Actually, she's become one of my best friends during this whole entire thing. So we're going to smash it.
They gave no thought for how a 2-year suspension would affect April. They didn't consider that. All they cared about was appeasing a delusional biological male who thinks he's superior to everybody else, who thinks he deserves special treatment, who thinks he should be allowed to cheat and be given a pat on the back just because of his identity, while leaving the female athletes to pick up the pieces. That's what the CPU are responsible for. And I hope they make this right. I really do. I really hope they make this right. I hope they have the same energy for this person that they had for April for simply using the term male. This person feels fit to call out a black woman simply because I don't agree with him. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.